Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Arrow Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're talking about two episodes, because we unfortunately weren't able to get together last week and talk about Huntress Returns, so we're going to do episodes 17 and 18 simultaneously. We're going to talk about the Huntress Returns and Salvation. And Eric, I think what we'll do is kind of break this up a little bit and kind of briefly talk about each separately and just give quick opinions about them, and then maybe just do a full-blown discussion about both of them together. There's enough plot lines that are converging between the two. I think that'll work.
Yeah.
So, Huntress Returns, I didn't like the actress that played Helena the first two times we saw her. What do you think of her here? Did she kind of rise to the occasion a little bit, or not?
I thought she was better, because when she showed up and... Sorry, I'm coughing. I was kind of like, I remember her being a lot worse than this. I can't put my finger on it, but I remember really like cringing every time she said something last time, and I didn't have that as much this time. Yeah,
I didn't have that either. I did think she was a little bit better. I also thought the material was a little bit better.
I would agree.
And that helped her. It at least wasn't inconsistent. I bought her motivations. I bought why she was doing everything. It didn't make me like her any better. This is still not a character I can get real into, which is unfortunate because I love the Huntress, but I'm not loving their take on her all that much. And once they
really set her up as not like what I thought they were gonna do was I thought she was gonna be kind of like how she plays off of Batman, whereas here she's just a full-blown villain.
Well, pretty much, or at the very least...
Also, why does she get a mask, but all he has to spray paint his face?
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, she's got the straight-up vigilante thing going on, and it's just simply personally motivated, whereas Oliver's is a little more complicated than that. And I sort of feel like this is a character that doesn't really have any legs. I'm not sure what they'll do with her down the road. I don't want every time she shows up for it to be, I'm trying to kill my father again. And I knew when they brought her back it would be that again, and it was okay. I thought that her presence actually did quite a bit for a lot of our supporting cast. It helped the Tommy subplot a lot. So I mean, like it did a lot for people. I just still don't like her, and I'm still not real sure what Oliver sees in her. So I was kind of okay with them going all so far by the end of having him actually try to kill her finally, because I sort of wasn't sure what else he would do.
I've definitely got something with that, because they have a conversation, and when I watched it, I was like, okay, they have finally completely explained their line. Because we've been confused the entire time that he's running around saying, don't kill, and he's still killing. And then, when he talks to her, I was like, okay, he kills when it's in defense of other people. I was like, alright, that makes sense. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, how many corrupt businessmen has he just showed up on their rooftop and just shot them with an arrow? Like, it's really not that different from what she's trying to do with her dad. I know there's like a big grand design, although he doesn't even know what that is. He doesn't know what they're trying to do. At least I don't think he does.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I agree with you to a point. But at the point that he decides, and I'm not saying he's right about it necessarily, but at the point he decides I've got to just take her out now, is when she's like involved his friends and his family so hard.
I'm fine with that, and when I initially watched it, my thought process was, he's killing her to save other people.
Yeah.
My problem was his argument of, kind of, I kill to save other people, and I'm like, but you killed a lot of people who weren't immediately endangering someone.
Yeah, but has he really done that since he kind of created his line, is the question.
I can't remember. I have distinct memories of him just showing up and killing people.
See, I don't. I'm not sure what you're talking about past the first couple episodes.
Didn't he show up to kill his mom?
No, we've kind of talked about that, and I think we debated it a little bit. I don't think he was there to kill her. I think he was there to see what she would say. He was testing her.
This 2-week break kind of killed me. because I was I was kind of like, there was things that were happening. I was like, I can't remember. I have distinct memories of him trying to kill people on rooftops and stuff like that, but I can't remember when. If it stopped at the first couple episodes, that might be so, but I can't remember.
Well, I think there's a lot of places where it's just ambiguous, where you're not sure if he's killed a person or if he hasn't. But anyway, I kind of think all that sort of works okay. But there's a little bit of goofy here. I mean, it does seem really funny to me that they never address the fact that her weapon of choice now is a crossbow, and he gave her that.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of amusing. I kind of like that she's got more of the cross motif going on in her costume, but I wish they would do something religious with her so that it would make sense that that's there. Although, never mind, because they had the whole necklace thing before, didn't they? I've forgotten about this.
Yeah. It's more incorporated in now.
You're right, yeah. Fair enough. Okay, never mind. Forget what I just said. I forgot all about the necklace bit. I guess the problem is I'm just not real engaged with her. And again, I wish that she and Oliver had more chemistry. We've got that whole business where she says, why can't you just admit that you still have feelings for me too? And I get the feeling that the episode is telling me that he kind of does, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that. Also, I felt like she acted far beyond her means. She walks into the Arrow Cave. She sees Felicity. And then later she gets Felicity. I'm like, well, how the hell did she find her? She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know where she lives.
No, she knows her name.
She doesn't know where she works.
She does know her name.
Does she know her name?
Yeah, because Oliver was dumb enough to call her that as soon as she showed up. I didn't like that when he
she
says...
doesn't have her last name.
When he,
I feel like that's beyond her means to find her.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not saying it's awful. It felt like a slight bit beyond the realms of believability that she could just get her, knowing nothing but her first name.
Yeah, sure.
Knowing just your first name and the city you live in, I probably wouldn't be able to go to your place of residence and steal you.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
I don't know. Can we talk about the best part of the episode?
Yeah, go ahead.
Quentin, throughout this entire episode, this is his best episode.
Yeah, I think so too.
I absolutely loved, his ex-wife coming back, and his immediate just like, no, I'm not going through this again. And I love the arc he went throughout the episode. I thought it was a really strong, well done character piece.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I didn't think I was going to like that, and I did, and I like that by the end of that. Of course, we do find out in the episode right after it, but I like that by the end of that episode, we're not sure if their daughter's still alive, and I don't feel like they've contrived that too hard. That could have seemed a lot more melodramatic than it was, and one of the things I thought was really kind of interesting about it too, going into, and I guess we'll talk about Salvation here in a minute, but going into the next episode is the whole business of that almost bringing that couple back together a little bit and all of that. I thought that was kind of interesting. And not
that plays in
not
a
the
lot
direction I thought they would go.
But
yeah,
something I want to note in this episode before we talk about the next episode.
Sure.
Dinah is very pro her mom.
You mean Laurel? Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Laurel. Laurel is very pro her mom, and she scolds her father for not listening to her mom. That's going to be important next episode.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I wondered about that myself.
But the other thing I think is worth noting here is what I think is going to be... I think they're setting up a big response to fans. And I'm not sure if I fully agree with it, but the whole thing with Makina, Ollie's girlfriend...
Yeah.
If she had died, I would have liked it more. It would have been a little cliche, but I would have liked it, and I wouldn't have expected it. Her going to the hospital and being like, I'm moving to Coast City for rehab, felt really easy.
I thought so too. I thought that was a little bit forced. And...
It was a little soap opera-y. And my theory is, based on the next episode, I think that they maybe had a little bit more plans for her, she's getting moved out of the way so that Ollie and Felicity can get together.
Yeah. I was starting to pick up on that a little bit in Salvation also, and I'm not sure if I like that. But a lot of that is just because from when she first started coming to the Arrow Cave, she had a little bit of chemistry with Diggle, and I sort of wanted that to happen.
I know, I did too. But the other thing is, I still, even in Salvation, Salvation is where I really felt like, oh, this is where we're setting this up. I feel like it's one-sided chemistry. I feel like she is a thing for him. I never get that he looks at her that way.
I don't either. I don't feel like they're living on the same plane of existence, really.
Yeah.
They do have that really tender moment at the end of Salvation, but it's not romantic. It's almost more of like a mentor thing.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And again, we should talk about that. But going back to Huntress Returns for a minute, because there's a couple of other little bits I wanted to mention.
Well, we didn't mention the island at all.
No, and we should definitely talk about that. But there's a couple of just lines of dialogue I wanted to mention, and one of them is toward the beginning of the episode, Quentin refers to Green Arrow not as the Hood. This is just one time, not as the Hood, but as the Archer. And why hasn't he been calling him that the whole season?
I don't know. It would have been so much better, especially. Oh, I forgot about this. The scene when Quentin has a suspect that uses a crossbow who is known to have worked with Green Arrow says that he's the person that Quentin thought he was. And he just ignores it. He just thinks she's lying. I couldn't believe that.
Wait, what are you talking about? That she says I'm lost. I don't know what scene we're talking about.
Oh, in the interrogation scene with Huntress. Yeah. She says to Quentin, because Quentin goes, "Who is he?" And she says it's Oliver Queen.
No, that's not how they played it. They did that for dramatic effect, and I didn't like it, and it was really silly. But the way they play it is he says who is Green Arrow, or who is the Hood, and there's a long pause, and she says Oliver Queen, but she's looking at McKenna, and she starts talking about Oliver Queen.
I know that. I know how they play it. I still feel like a known associate of the Hood telling Quentin he's gone on less.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right, but it's a matter of he suddenly gets dumber so that the scene can play dramatic effect.
Exactly. And I hated the fact that when he was like, who is he? And she's like, the Hood. I'm like, can we stop calling him that?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's better than the Hood guy, but the Archer is so much better than the Hood.
Yeah.
Or call him Arrow. That's what the show is called.
Another line I wanted to mention is I really liked it when Diggle referred to Helena as the Verizon girl.
Yes, that was great.
I really liked that, and the context it was in too, where he says, "Should I have just killed her?" And he says, "Well, you would have if she looked like me instead of the Verizon girl." I was like, "That's a great line."
Yep, it was a good line.
What did you think of Roy Harper in that episode? Because I really wondered about the whole.
I feel like it's really strongly contrived.
Yeah, me too. I didn't like the business, and even if this somehow works, it's going out of its way to make us not like the guy. This business of go ahead and talking to Thea, go ahead and talk to Oliver about getting me a job, and then the very next scene, I didn't go there because I don't want to do that. I mean, like, I didn't get the sense that he even thought about it, that there were any second thoughts like he says there was. I didn't like that at all.
The problem is they're setting him up as a guy that's like lived hard living and, tells Thea, like, you don't know what it's like here, but she literally hands him a job. He says, I can't make money except doing illegal things. She goes, here's a legit job, and he doesn't even show up. And it's not like it's an office job. It's a job at a club. You know what I mean? Like, when he first showed up, you can kind of get where he's coming from. At this point, you can't.
Well, and at that point, he's just being a jerk there because he takes her up on the offer and then immediately declines it for no reason. It would have been one thing if he had just said, if he had just stuck to his guns in the first place and said, no, I don't want a job. But he accepted it and then didn't show up. And anyway, I really didn't like that.
I agree with you completely. They've not set him up very well.
On the other hand,
do something interesting with him in the next episode, and they didn't.
On the other hand, I feel the need to say that while I'm not liking Roy Harper that much, I am liking Thea a lot more ever since he showed up, and it's giving her something to do and giving her kind of this really interesting responsibility. Where I think that there was a little bit of waffling, not real sure what to do with her. And ever since the whole Vertigo thing, I feel like she's been in going in kind of a strong direction. I'm suddenly liking her again.
Yeah, I think it's just they finally came up with something for her to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside of, complain to Oliver.
Right. And take drugs and be upset because of her messed up family. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just needed to find something for her to do, and now that they have, you can actually like her a bit more, and she doesn't seem like she's being as obnoxious as she was previously.
I know you want to talk about the island stuff. Let me real quick also mention that I didn't think I liked what they were doing with Tommy, and then I did, and was actually really glad that maybe, I don't know if you thought maybe it was too fast. I didn't. I like that that Oliver and Tommy actually make up at the end, and that they're not going to have this episode on top of episode rivalry because he never told him he was Arrow, which plays into that whole notion of leverage that's kind of thematically throughout the episode, which actually ties into the island really well. And I was really glad that by the end of it, Tommy kind of got it a little bit.
Yeah. I thought everything with Tommy was done very well.
So then you go to
I really like that he... I like that we didn't wait like 6 episodes with just like a weird tension between the two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that it was just immediately resolved. He's like, look, I kind of understand what you're doing.
It reminded me a lot of what they did in second season with Pete Ross in Smallville.
Yeah.
Only I thought it was handled maybe a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to talk about the island a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Go ahead.
Because not a lot happens. Like, everything on the island really is just leading to that end point, right? We know that we find out that they have missile launchers, and Ollie and Slade get the I think it's the trigger. Is it the trigger or whatever fires them or something?
It's not the trigger. It's the motherboard that powers them, I think. Or something like that.
It's something mechanical that's important to the missile launchers.
Yeah.
And it ends with Ollie saying, we're going to meet and you're going to give us a way off this island. Which got me excited because we've discussed, I'm not sure if this has actually been on recording, we've discussed the fact that we know Ollie leaves the island. We know that certain things have to happen. He said he left the island, he's got Russian tattoos. I was like, oh, that's really interesting that he's going to get to leave the island. It doesn't really pan out next episode, but I thought it was a good cliffhanger because I thought we were going to get to see Ollie leave the island.
Well, and frankly, I still kind of like even what they do with the island stuff the next episode. I like that this ties...
I'm not saying I don't like what happens next episode. I'm just saying it set me up for kind of what I didn't get.
I like that this whole business of them... again, this whole leverage idea where Oliver is learning how to manipulate. And he is getting smart about survival at the same time as he's kind of losing some of his innocence. And it's a good thing and a problem all simultaneously. Once again, this guy is really good at acting these two different roles, where he's really hardened in the present and he's becoming hardened in the past. And it's just a lot of fun to watch, and it's really impressive that he can do that. And I like that the island story in Huntress Returns kind of just keeps going into Salvation, and we've had that going on a little bit. But I mean, like, we have this giant thing that's set up with their plan that is a cliffhanger and goes into the next one. We haven't had a whole lot of island cliffhangers, and so that's getting more and more complex.
Yeah, it feels like they're building to something with the island. I'm not sure what, but it feels like they're building to something.
Well, and I'm glad that, and I think this is a good time to maybe just go right into Salvation. I'm glad that going into Salvation, because I didn't expect this, and it's not where I thought they were going at all, that they've suddenly made Yao Fei's daughter like a character, and that I thought it was going to take a while before we started doing stuff with her.
I kind of expected that because people were saying that she was Shadow. And so I was waiting for something to happen with that. I definitely wasn't surprised when she came into play. I wasn't necessarily expecting it this soon, but it wasn't completely like, oh, all right, well, she's here now. I don't know. I'm not saying I was expecting it, but like it didn't like catch me off guard. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to start talking about Salvation?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is really bad. I think this might be the worst episode that we've had since the break. If
Wow.
not the entire series.
Really?
I really didn't like Salvation.
Why?
Okay. Well, the part of it is Laurel switching. She completely changes from last episode to this episode, and I really, really didn't like that. I thought like it was forcing drama, so much so that I actually thought that this episode might have been written by the guys that make the show, because it felt like such a change of character, and so drastically. I really don't like the mom in this episode. When she has her like breakdown at the end, I couldn't take her seriously. It might just be that I don't like the actress, but I thought she did that really poorly. And then the whole thing with the subway guy, I really didn't like. At first I thought it was kind of interesting because I thought it was going to be Roy. I thought that was going to be the in for how Roy gets involved with the Arrow stuff, is he's already doing it. And then he just gets kidnapped, and they make this big like mystery out of who the guy is, and I was like, oh, well, he stabbed him with a needle, maybe this is the Count coming back, and he's nobody. Like, they built this big mystery around him, and he's nobody. There's no reason for him to have this big mystery about him. He's just nothing. The reveal that the symbol is actually not a symbol but a subway system is really lame, because we've seen it in other places as a symbol. Like if it was just in the Notebook, that'd be fine, but it's on Merlin's computer. I felt like that was a really lame reveal. I was like, well, it looks like a subway map system, that's fine, but we've seen it other places as a symbol, not just, if it was just in the Notebook like that, that'd be fine. And Ollie basically completely forgets about the fact that his girlfriend just got shot and left last episode.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I completely agree with that. And you're right about the subway symbol. I thought that was a little bit lame too. One thing I wondered about, I don't know, there were a lot of things I wondered about more than I was like repelled or really bothered by them. Like you seem to be. I thought it was strange that they made such a big deal out of the subway, like they would have never thought of that.
And I have something with the subway too.
Yeah.
When Ollie's running, which by the way, an up point is we got running on rooftops, and I thought that was really cool. Because when she says, "Oh, it's like a mile down that way," I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna take him forever to get down," and he just starts running the rooftops. I really like that. But there's a point where he jumps down on a big van, and I was like, "It's the van."
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought it made a lot more sense if it was the van.
Yeah, me too. And I wondered why, and this is why I said that I thought it was strange that they made such a big deal out of the subway. Why wouldn't they have immediately thought...
trains?
Why wouldn't they have immediately thought, hey, it's moving, maybe it's in a vehicle? They never say that. They never mention that. They never say maybe it's in a truck or anything. They just say, she's like, it's impossible, it's moving. And I was thinking, well, clearly it's in a... And the thing is, as soon as that happens and they cut back to the inside of it and the interrogation thing, you can see that it's jumping up and down and it's moving. So it seems like it would have been clear from the beginning that it's moving. That they're in a vehicle, the way that it's rocking. Yeah. And I remember thinking that from the beginning. They're in something, it's rocking.
Well, and part of it was I thought they were setting up something more interesting initially. Because when she goes, he's not here, he's here, and it just jumps on the map, I was like, we're getting a character that can actually, like, out-hack her. I thought it was... Because she's, up to this point, there's been nothing really to stop her. She has been able to do anything and everything with a computer. And I was like, we're getting somebody that has technical know-how. And I was kind of excited for that. And then it wasn't that at all. Because it doesn't, when you look at the computer, it's not moving. It's here, and then it's at a different building. I thought somebody was, like, screwing with the computer and, you know, doing different things.
I don't know. I think that's, Eric, I think that's just because of the way they shot it. Because the sense I got was she looked up from the screen and she looked back down at the screen and now it was in a different place.
That might be.
I don't think it really jumped. But yeah, the whole idea of somebody's disgruntled because the way the Glades are being handled got their loved ones killed. And by the way, they don't even begin to really go into what exactly happened to whoever it is that guy is upset about. And I felt like that was all handled. It was really crypto-freaky. I mean, it was handled. That was handled kind of poorly. And I thought that it could have been a lot more interesting. It also jumped the shark for me a little bit when he went after Roy, because that wasn't the kind of person he's been going after.
No, I thought the exact same thing. That's part of why I thought it was Roy. I was like, I thought that was set up.
I wouldn't have thought of that, Eric. I think that's a bit of a leap, but...
I didn't think it was, because I thought it was similar to what Ollie's been doing, but a little bit more extreme, so that would be his connect. That would be how him and Ollie would meet, and he would, you know, rein him in. I didn't think that long, but, like, when it first happened, I was like, this is where they're going to take Roy, and this is how they're going to get Roy.
Well, and that's interesting, yeah, given that the guy is trying to put himself on Green Arrow's level. I mean, he's acting like, you know, he doesn't think...
And he's doing the voice modulator, and he's thinking out crime.
Yeah, he's really just being a vigilante, and he feels like, you know, and he has that whole business of what makes you different than me and all that kind of thing. And again, all they had to do was flesh him out a little bit, and it could have worked, except the kidnapping Roy was really contrived, and it very much comes off as Roy is becoming more and more of a main character, so we got to get him in here somehow, so he's the guy that gets kidnapped. I don't know why he went after somebody that low on the food chain.
Well, and he knew, like, everything he'd done. Like, with the other people, like, it makes sense. Like, on this, he, like, lists off crimes. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, like you just follow everyone there, like, and see what they do?
Yeah, and how small are the Glades exactly? Like, he knows everything about everyone?
It's a block.
He's like, it's like a block. It's like a 2-block radius, and he just knows where everybody is. And, yeah.
It's like 6 houses. It's really bad. But, and I really didn't like that the episode started with Thea and him making out. And then immediately she's like, hey, why didn't you take that job? And like, I'm like, why are you there?
Enough. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not like anything's been resolved.
No, nothing's changed.
Well, although it is fair, you know, it is fair to to remember that when they were in that doctor's office, she did kiss him.
Yeah, but I didn't think that immediately led to them making out. But she still has all of the same problems. Like it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you. I guess I'm just saying that's probably the logic they're going with. But yeah,
this is part of why I felt like this episode felt like one of the episodes written by the creators.
I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was great. I did kind of like it a little better than Huntress Returns, I have to say.
Oh, really? I
did.
Huntress Returns was okay. I thought this was really bad. Obviously.
I get your issues with Laurel kind of flip-flopping a little bit. It's one of those things where I kind of want to watch them together again and see if maybe I'm missing something, because
she seems really pro her mom, and she like berates her father for not giving her mom a chance. And then when you get to the second episode, it's he's giving her mom a chance, and she's like, "Oh, why are you playing into that?"
Well, the way I think they were trying to interpret it in that second episode, and the question is, does this work, and did they give us enough? Is that she was upset with him in the first episode because he wasn't looking at all the evidence and researching it, so that he could come back to her and say, "Look, you don't have anything."
But she fixed it so easily. Why couldn't she have done that the second her mom came to her?
Well, that's a good question.
And
it's not like she doesn't have resources being an attorney.
Well, and the other thing that kind of bugged me the entire time of the second episode is I was like, where did that picture come from? Where did she get it?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. But what I have to say is, you're right that's all really strange. You might not agree with this. I like where it goes at the end. I like that they didn't find her. I
like that they didn't find her, and I like how it's resolved. I don't like how they get there.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. I'm just saying that I really kind of expected it to get like more and more soap opera, and they don't go that way with it.
There is a moment I really like when the mom starts freaking out. After Laurel brings the evidence, and her dad just has this moment of like, I can't go through this again, and like you really see why they split up. I liked that, and
that tells you a lot about that actor. He's just fantastic in that scene. And
he's great.
I felt like that was the place he was maybe most bringing his A game. I mean, I know you talked about how great he was in Huntress Returns, but like we see a side of him in that scene that we don't see anywhere else.
Right.
So that was really great, and I really liked Felicity this episode. I like the whole business at the beginning of Oliver's going to go after this guy, and he's explaining it to her, and she's finally gotten to a place where she's kind of more appreciating what they're doing, and he says, "Are you okay with this?" Because, she's a pacifist, and she says, "Yes, 100%. I liked that scene. I thought that was good. And then the whole business of her never seeing anybody get killed before, and then the moment we were talking about earlier that she and Oliver have at the end, where he tells her that if she ever needs somebody to talk to, she can talk to him. There was a lot of heart there, especially in the last part of this episode. I guess that's why I liked it more than you did. I felt like there was a lot of like really good interpersonal stuff of people like kind of bearing their souls to other people, and I felt like we hadn't gotten to that place a lot in this series yet, and I liked all that.
She had a line that I really liked when Roy gets out, and Ollie says something like, "They're not just friends, are they?" And she's like, "Not with how happy they were to see each other."
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, I'm with you. It's not great, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I liked it more than you did. Certainly.
Yeah. Well, clearly. I'm not gonna go so far as to say it's the worst episode of the series. I do think it's the worst episode since the break.
Wow. I mean, maybe it is.
Think about everything that's happened after the break. Like, what episode didn't really work?
Well, that's the point. Is that now it's at least got competition.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of good competition. I also liked the thing they did with the mom at the end. A lot.
I have some issues with that. I'm not sure how.
When we bring that character up, you don't like anything they ever do with her, no matter what side of the fence they land on.
Oh no, it's not her.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's like, all of a sudden, they're not making her out to be this great person, and you still don't like it.
What?
Well,
I thought they were still doing that. She was like, oh no, okay, I understand what you're saying, because she frames the other guy. Okay, no.
Because she got somebody killed, and she's got blood on her hands, Eric!
Oh my god, I hated that scene so much. I was like, I get it. It was dumb when, what's that director's name? There's a director that did that scene. I was like, I get it. I thought that was really clumsy symbolism. Um,
Wow, I was kind of fine with it, but all right.
I thought it was kind of lame and corny. But
I don't know. Maybe I was just
no,
in the mood. I don't know. I was kind of
my
alright with it.
my problem with it is it's still really dumb that he never once suspects that it's her. Because when it happened the first time, we were like, okay, maybe he's playing her. Maybe he suspects, but he wants to keep her thinking that he doesn't.
Yeah, good call, and that's where I thought it was going.
Yeah, you know, when he's like, I talked to the triad. We're gonna find out who ordered the hit, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be her, and he's just gonna have enough evidence, and he's gonna be like, well, I suspected, but now I know. No, he doesn't suspect her, the one who's been jumping up and down saying, I don't want to do this. He doesn't suspect her one bit. And then when he shows up and kills...
Yeah, she does kind of try to get out just before she orders a hit on him.
And then when they kill the guy from Dark Knight, I was like, why didn't this happen at any point before this? Like, before season break, we don't see the Dark Archer. And I was like, if this is how they systematically kill people, like, why haven't we seen this before this? Like, wouldn't it have been more interesting to, at the beginning of the show, have somebody going around killing people with arrows?
Well,
Like,
and also, that wasn't...
build to that?
Was that still the Dark Archer, or was that somebody else? Because...
I assume that was him. It's the same costume we've kept seeing.
Is he? Except that he didn't have a full face mask like that before, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, did he? Okay, I thought it looked a
Yeah.
little bit different than that. But I didn't get the sense that would... Well, that would be the only thing that would explain why he didn't immediately also shoot her, because apparently he's just stupid. Because, no, you're absolutely right. That is really irritating. The notion that he wouldn't even begin to suspect her when she tried to get out of the organization. And when
it
she's
just seemed
obviously
weird
had
that
a lot
he
of
would personally
reservations.
show up to kill Lau.
Assuming that was him, but that's why I didn't think it was him, because I didn't think he would go that far.
Oh, I assumed it was him because he's the only other Archer we've seen in the entire show.
No, I know that, but then isn't it really strange that he doesn't take off his mask and start talking to her? Like, he's still talking.
Well, she clearly doesn't know that that's him.
So you're saying she doesn't know that he's... See, I guess the problem is I don't know what these people know about each other throughout the show. Like, I thought she knew he was the Dark Archer.
No, I don't think she does. But see, because when he shows up as the Dark Archer the first time, I got the impression that, like, that was, like, the first time that it happened. Or at least the first time, like, in the city type of thing. Like, maybe he went and trained with somebody, and, like, this is, like, something he's bringing back because he wants to, test his merit against, Ollie. But the idea that this is it's kind of like Iron Man, right? Like the whole thing with Iron Man being his bodyguard. Like, the idea that he is the person that he employs to kill people, but up until the season break, we don't see the Dark Archer killing people. That seemed weird. And if she doesn't know he's the Dark Archer, why wouldn't she go to him and ask him to kill Merlin? If he's like the hitman for them.
I don't know. That's why I'm not 100% sure that's who that is. But maybe it well, anyway, it's certainly confusing. I think it's kind of confusing.
I think, if nothing else, this distinctly proves wrong the philosophy that evil will win because good is dumb. Because evil is dumb.
Well, is there anything that we didn't really bring up that we should have talked about with either of these?
Well, we got Yao Fei and his daughter back as part of the presumably until the near future cast for the island.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of interesting because we haven't really had Yao Fei as a character for a good number of episodes now. It'll be interesting to see how him and Oliver interact now, as opposed to just Ollie hiding in a cave. Like, think about the last time they were really together and how much Ollie's grown since then.
Yeah, and also they paid off the whole business of why he saved Oliver, because remember he was trying to figure that out, and he finally gets it this episode. So that was a nice payoff. I really like the whole thing of Oliver becoming kind of overconfident, where he's finally learning how to put a plan together like this, and he goes too far with it.
Yeah.
I thought that was all handled really well.
What I liked was it's good growth. He's gaining the skills that he's going to have where he is in the present, but he's still got that cocky playboy attitude. It's kind of like an in-between stage right now. He still, thinks a little bit too highly of himself, and now he thinks even more highly of himself with all of these new things he's learned.
And I'm getting the sense that Steve Amell is really enjoying playing that part.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
In the last 3 or 4 episodes, I keep getting the sense that whenever he's on the island, he's having more fun than when he's off island.
Well, I think there's more for him to do there, character-wise. I think there's more growth and more... Because he's such a set character currently. On the island stuff, he's gotten to actually grow, and he's able to play things a little bit differently and try a little bit more on the island. Like, he knows what he's doing.
And there's more of a... And the thing is, the writing is a little more confident because there's more of a sure direction for where he's going, because we know where he gets to. So they know that over a certain amount of time, they have to get him from playboy to hardened vigilante. Now, in the present day, he is hardened vigilante, but he still has been changing over the season. At the beginning, he started as somewhat of a killer. He's trying to back off from that. So I mean, like, he's changing, he's growing, he's morphing, but there's not necessarily this like set place where he has to go, so they've got to feel their way through that.
Well, and I don't think it's as distinct as it is on the island. Like,
it's not
on the show. I think a lot of it just comes from him kind of finding his character, whereas on the island, clearly the character is growing through the scripts.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm enjoying the island stuff. I'm interested to see if the island has a finale with the season finale. Or
that's
the
a
island
great point, yeah. Wouldn't it be really interesting if the season ended with 2 cliffhangers?
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting. I'm because we kind of at least have an idea of what's going to happen at the end of the season. Like we know there's kind of going to be like a big action fighty, thing. We're going to find out their plan. Oliver's going to stop it. I have no idea how the island stuff is going to end for the season. It could end with him finally getting off the island. It could end with anything, really.
Since we know he gets off, like you said earlier, I would imagine that he'll probably leave the island by the end of it, just because they keep teasing us with that. And
well, you would think so, but yeah. they're looking, based on how successful the show is, and that they were renewed for a second season before they even got to the halfway point.
They've got to be able to stretch it for 5 years.
Long term, yeah.
Yeah, they've got to be able to stretch that for 5 years.
Yep. So
but we don't know at what point he gets off the island. If he gets off and he goes back to the island, maybe that happened early.
Yeah, that's true.
It's possible. Maybe he got off more than once.
Yeah.
I mean, that might get really contrived. I have no idea where they're going with it. But
they've set up so much stuff for what happens in that 5 years. I'm really interested. They've set up so much stuff without telling us anything. I'm really interested to see where all of that goes.
I'm going to be really, really intrigued to go back when the season's over and binge watch this and watch them more close to each other.
I'm going to be really interested to. It's going to be interesting going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we'll go back to the beginning and it will feel much weaker than it did the first time, because it's gotten so strong since.
Well, I kind of wonder if it won't be the other way. If knowing where it's going, we might not appreciate it more. It's possible, where you go back and you say, okay, now that we know how these certain things pay off, because there's certain things early on that I didn't know how they were going to pay off, so they were more irritating. than they would be had I known.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
But
well,
I'm interested in next episode. So,
well, I'm glad that not liking that Salvation as much as you didn't like that episode, that you're not like, oh, I'm done with this.
no. It's come such a long way. I really, actually, if anything, I kind of want them to do another island episode before the finale. I would kind of like maybe.
I don't know if
maybe
we'll
the
get that,
penultimate
but
episode or the episode
I'm with you,
before
man.
the last two.
The episode we got that was almost all island was one of the best episodes of the season.
Yeah. But yeah, it sucks that I really didn't like this episode so much, and I thought this was such a weak episode so close to the end. We've only got a couple episodes left. I think maybe 5.
5, yeah.
23 is a weird number to end on. Usually it's 22, 24, 26.
Yeah, you're
maybe
right.
25.
I haven't seen
23's
23
weird.
that often. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for listening to Air Discussion. Sure hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you, I think, next week? Yeah, April 3rd.
April 3rd, yep.
Yep. And we'll see you later. Let us know in the comments what you thought of these 2 episodes, and thanks for listening. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you next time.